Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming with more Plague Inc. Evolved custom scenarios. There is a scenario that is making its way up the popular tab that I thought we would take a look at today. It is called All Plagues Combined. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's going to get the traits of every single plague type in Plague Inc., or maybe it's going to take the worst plagues humanity has ever faced and then combine all the symptoms, and we're going to have a hodgepodge of hell. Could be anything. Where the heck are you? There it is, by the bird Bob. Well, don't you know that the bird is the word? I made an advanced plague with the intention of combining all of the real most devastating plagues. I combined the Black Death, the bubonic plague, plague of Justinian, flu pandemic, and the Antonine plague. Why are these all in caps here? I don't know. I think is it supposed to be increasing my ominous sense of foreboding? I don't know, but good luck. Well, thank you, bird Bob. I think I'm going to be just fine. I think I know what I might be doing. All right, well, let's retrieve this scenario information. It's taking a while. And there we go. We don't get to choose any traits, so I guess I'm just going to go for a normal difficulty. It's called H3CHO-TBD-20. That's a mouthful. We have to start in the UK? Oh, okay. This is taking me back to old Pravus days, back when I thought that maybe starting in the UK was going to be some meta strategy for Mega Brutal difficulty because it didn't, you didn't spread so fast it detected you early on. Yeah, that was a stupid idea. Anyway, the origin. The World Health Organization's office says it began receiving reports in late July of a mysterious virus behind a number of pneumonia cases in outer London located in the UK. Researchers suspect the virus originated from a mass grave used several times and by several plagues. You know, if you guys would stop digging up the mass graves from the previous plague a few centuries ago to toss your new bodies, this wouldn't happen, but there you go. The Plague Pit. Actually, that wouldn't be a bad name for the scenario right there. That sounds pretty cool. It's actually a pretty good band name, too. At a big mass grave in London, also called the Plague Pit, a local farmer started digging. This mass grave was used under 4 of the most difficult times in human history. The farmer were already infected with the H2N2 flu, which isn't dangerous, missing an apostrophe. The flu he had absorbed genes from all the plagues, because viruses are renowned for their ability to assimilate the DNA of other diseases that have presumably been dead in there for a very long time. So for transmissions, we have a lot of customization here. Okay. Well, we have air and particle 1. The virus has the ability to travel on dust particles. We have water carrier. We have COVID-19. Hey, you snuck this in here. I guess this counts as one of the worst diseases humans ever had. I don't know. Maybe it is. Starts creating genes that support the Black Death. Really? This leads to the Black Death? Okay. Black Death Insect 1. The Black Death was carried around in a lot of insects, specifically the flea, but there you go, improves infectivity greatly. Wild Animal Life. The virus will now cross-combine animal genes by blood/cilia transaction, much like zombies. This kills a lot of animal life, but carries the virus more effectively. And plant cellular evolution. Plant cells will now evolve with the virus increase infectivity, land transmission, and mutation. All right, fun run-on sentence there. And finally, we have active acid. While the bubonic plague laid dormant, it mutated genes which, no H there, allow it to control actions and create toxins. It mutated genes, it laid dormant and mutated and controlled actions. Okay, that's how mutation works. We have toxic gas expansion. Irritated stomach lining leads to discomfort. We have lung toxins. Third cholera pandemic, 1852 genes. We have dying skin tissue, Antonin O2 charge, Antonin gene mutation, lump infection, Black Death gene, and brain shutdown. So all these different types of diseases, these different mutations, what does this mean exactly? Like, if I choose a Black Death and a bubonic plague gene, which, by the way, are the same thing, what does that lead to? Anything cool? Any combinations? I don't know. Don't think that I didn't notice that these are all the generic symptoms that have just been renamed and reworked. Now, if this mutation stuff matters, okay, there's some customization. Otherwise, that's just a reskin. Abilities, we have our cold, heat, and drug resistance, and bacterial resilience, which is pretty standard. So for our transmissions, I think we're going to save some DNA, because this by itself doesn't seem particularly good, whereas, let's say, the Black Death seems pretty darn good. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. Thank you, Black Death in the UK. That's perfect. Historically fairly effective in the UK and much of Europe in general. What do we want next? Air and particle, water carrier? Probably water carrier, because the UK is known for having a lot of rain. So a lot of water transmission makes sense. Also, get on one of these 2 ports and get the heck out of here. One of the few nations that has 2 ports, Egypt being the other one, and also Australia, I believe. Yes, 3 countries in the game that I'm aware of that have ports. Hey, look, Greenland has an airport. Well, this is going to be easy street, isn't it? Let's go for Water Carrier 2 and just really get the heck out of here. We got brain shutdown? That sounded way worse than it actually was, but it doesn't appear to be too bad. Is it lethal? I don't know if it's lethal. I can't tell. Doesn't look like it's lethal to me. So brain shutdown sounds pretty bad, but it's not actually that bad. It's just basic insomnia. Then we have paranoia. I'm going to go for the dying skin tissue and then probably sweating because at the end of the day, it's always pretty effective to go down this route. I'm sure we're going to get our skin lesions. Yep, there they are. Like I said, basically just a reskin. Hot countries getting hotter. Well, that is a slight issue for me with this particular build. I do want to go for lung toxins because coughing and sneezing also pretty darn good. So we'll grab some of that. Also pneumonia, very good in the cold countries. And then we probably want to go for a level of our drug resistance because we are starting in Europe, which means spreading around Europe is going to be a little bit tricky without a little help. I definitely need to get some heat resistance because, you know, if global warming is making the world hotter instead of colder this time around, then we need a little bit of extra help, right? So let's pick some of that up. Spread a little bit faster in Africa and in Asia. Beyond this, I think we go for the skin lesions for the severity since we are getting around pretty rapidly, and I'm going to want the extra DNA from the red bubbles. So there we go. Transmissions, we have very few transmissions, but we're getting around extremely quickly. Maybe we don't worry about transmissions too much. Maybe we just go for some severity and just try to live. Let's go for sneezing. It's very infective. I mean, it's pretty good, right? Let's go into Greenland. There we go. I think we go for some more heat resistance if I get the chance. I've never understood why heat resistance is more expensive than cold resistance, but that is a thing for some reason in Plague Inc. It's always been the case, pretty much universally. We've already spread pretty rapidly in the wealthy countries with the exception of Canada and the US. Do I even bother with another level of drug resistance? I'm not sure that we do, but I do go for a level of air particles so we can get around in the arid regions of, let's say, the Middle East and Africa a little bit faster. Beyond that, land transmission, this is basically birds. Again, this looked customized, and now I'm realizing this is also just a reskin. Okay, I mean, not all scenarios are going to have an absolute ton of customization to it. There's always going to be your reskins out there. Some reskins are good, some are, and some are really not. I mean, this seems pretty okay to me so far, but for some reason we're spreading shockingly fast considering it is only a reskin. Do we go for the wild animal life? Do we go for the active acid? Plant cellular evolution level 2. I don't even know why this leads to land transmission when you think about it. How do plants lead to land transmission? Pollen? Pollen crossing the world? Is that how it's supposed to work? I don't know. I think we could go for necrosis. Have we gotten into every island? We're missing New Zealand. Nope, we're in New Zealand now. I think we just go for the necrosis now and just go ahead and pick that up. We're also going to go for the lump infection and the hypersensitivity, also the paranoia, just so we can slow down the cure progress and also just screw with the rich countries a little bit more. There we go, spreading pretty rapidly in Canada. Don't need any more cold resistance to be just fine. Now we're going to go for the seizures and the insanity, again, to slow down that cure progress by a rather substantial margin. We're only missing Morocco. Every country has otherwise been infected. Let's go for some genetic hardening. Level 1 and 2, and just go ahead and just sit back and enjoy the ride, I guess. Hemophilia, mutated for free. It's not a very good symptom, but I'll take it anyway because reasons. We could go for abscesses. I'm going to go for paralysis and then maybe coma and the total organ failure. This is a pretty standard route of evolution for me. But I like it because it's effective. It usually gets a very good score because you slow down the cure an absolute freaking ton. Total organ failure is going to cost me 42 DNA. That should be absolutely no problem. And now we're sitting at a pretty good amount of lethality, maximum amount of severity. No problem at all. How are we doing in Morocco? Still a little slow, but with the necrosis, it should not matter too much. Hemorrhagic shock and then dysentery, I think, are our next friends. And yeah, that's basically it. This scenario is easy because the base game can be easy. Morocco, you're infected, right? Yeah, there are no healthy people left in the world. Okay. Well, in this case, let's go for a genetic reshuffle, buy back a little score, and that's it. We destroyed all of humanity in no time flat because, again, it's the basic game, and I know how to play the basic game. Boom. The H3CHO-TBD H3 Cho to be determined 2020 has won all plagues combined. 323 days, just under a year. Oh yeah, still got it. 30% cure progress, 76,295 points, and 3 stars. You can play this one on Mega Brutal without too much issue because, again, it's just the base scenario reskinned, but potentially a little bit easier. I don't know why we got out of the UK as easily as we did. It seemed like we got around pretty quickly there, but whatever. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm happy with this. So, when you say it's all plagues combined, that's pretty cool. I didn't see a whole lot that really mattered that it was all plagues combined. Again, it just took stuff that already existed and then just said it was part of the bubonic plague, which I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is relevant to those diseases, but it wasn't really a mechanic shift in the game. You just played it and it could ignore the content. And that's my issue with a good reskin. No matter how good it is, if I can ignore the content that you spent so much time creating, to me, that's not great for the community, but it's also not great for you as a creator. I like to see a little bit more customization than that to force you to rethink how you approach the scenario at least a little bit. Then I really have to pay a lot more attention. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.